Hi, this is Arik,
And Aurelia.
and we're here to talk about life and interesting things.
Or so we think. But in the end, as always, you'll be the judge of it.
Either way, what we have to talk about is ageless.
Ageless!
So, hello, Aurelia. Nice to be here with you.
Thanks for having me.
Do you want to talk a little bit about today of what is transparency?
Well, if that's what we're going to talk about, I guess I will want to talk about it.
I
What you want
do.
to know?
I do because it's in terms of Aquarius, of course, we're in the age of Aquarius. We are about to go into Aquarius season and whatnot. And what is transparency?
Well, like a pane of glass, hopefully, is transparent. It is something that you can see through, something, even though it is there, something is there, and like it doesn't limit you in any way in your perception.
It doesn't limit you in any way in your perception. What do you mean by that?
Well, like I said, we have to give it some framework, because if I just talk about transparency staying with the pane of glass, then if my glass is dirty, then it's not so transparent. If there's stuff on it, then my perception, like to look out of the window or inside the house or wherever the pane of glass is, will be limited. But if it's all clean and there is nothing clinging onto it, then it is transparent. Then I can see through, like, unhindered.
Like,
there's no limitation.
There's no obstruction of view.
No obstruction of view.
Now, of course, that of course makes sense for a window or a glass pane, as you say. But what about being transparent as a person?
Well,
Or a company, for that matter. Or there's a difference?
No.
Okay.
It's like I wanted to say, we stay with the pane of glass. It's the same thing. Like if a person is has nothing to hide, like is not hiding anything, like there are no obstructions to hide behind.
Like masks?
Then there is transparency. The masks, I mean, in this day and age, using the word masks is a little bit difficult, because everybody right away will think of, face masks, FFP2, or whatever they're called.
Right.
Stuff that you have to wear, but that's not the kind of masks. You can wear those and still be very transparent. However, the masks that you're probably referring to are like the masks that we put on when we are not our authentic self. So, going back to the pane of glass, the authentic self of a pane of glass is that you can see through without obstruction. Now, whatever the authentic self of a person is, that depends on the person, obviously. But whenever the person is not authentic, then there are obstructions, and then transparency is lost. And the same also is true for companies. Like a company, let's say, Coca-Cola, they are making Coca-Cola. If they start to produce cheddar cheese, then they have lost their authentic self. And then obviously they cannot be transparent anymore, because in the public eye, they have to pretend they're making Coca-Cola when in reality they're making cheddar cheese. So they're hiding a big part of what they do and who they are. So transparency is lost. And with people, it's like that too. If you're not authentic, if you're pretending to be something that you are not, you cannot be transparent. Like you probably start to lie, and then it becomes all very complicated, and then you are hiding behind a mask. Let's say you're maybe a shy person. If you are shy, being shy, you're transparent. There's nothing wrong with it, because then you can do something about it and your environment can work with that.
Like you've accepted it.
Yeah, but if you're a shy person pretending you are like very, very confident, then you're creating lots and lots of obstructions.
So it sounds like there can be different levels, like physical, mental, emotional, psychological, different levels where you can have these obstructions.
Yeah, always. Like with everything, there's nothing ever only on one level.
Or physical or
Yes.
interpersonal, like you can have all these different levels of transparencies where it also basically sounds like then it has to do with being authentic.
Yes.
Do you think it's something that a lot of people, like you would say most people are transparent or obstructed?
I think that's, just
a
trick question.
Okay,
of course they're obstructed.
So
if everybody would be authentic, we would have a totally different world to work with.
Right,
and
I think so.
Aquarius in our age of Aquarius would look quite different, because then we could use all the magic that the age of Aquarius is really offering to us. But because we are so not authentic, that energy has to be used for cleansing and purging.
But it's not that innocent, right? Because, we know when we're not being transparent, because you can't really lie to your subconscious.
Exactly.
Or to your conscience. You're
not innocent at all. It's a form of manipulation. It is something, where I want to get something from somebody else. So it's a form of codependence, which obviously also is a form of manipulation. However, no, it's anything but innocent.
And then when we see other people getting away with being not transparent or being dishonest or inauthentic, then our ego kind of gets a sense of hope, like, well, if they can do it, then I can do it too.
Yeah, not even a sense of hope, but just as being justified.
Or validated.
It says, yeah, validated. See, that's how the game is played, and I can do it too.
Mm-hmm. And this is then how we get leaders in certain positions and, or heads of companies or heads of families, or, that they say, well, we've done this in our family. It's been a tradition for, 5,000 years, and this is the way we've always done it, and this is the way it works, and never mind, how it is today, but we've been inauthentic for, going on 100 years, and we're going to keep on trucking.
Yes, that's right.
Nothing to the truckers. I love truckers, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just a saying, but yeah, it's really interesting because I think then yeah, go ahead.
I want to say something because that's actually really nice. Like, keep on trucking, because there's nothing wrong with using that example, because that's exactly what a truck is doing. A truck is pulling something from here to there, and it doesn't care what it is it pulls. It's like it's a truck.
It's a transporter.
Yes, it's a transporter, and it's authentic in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful. I kind of liked it. So yes, keep on trucking.
Yeah, keep on trucking. Yeah, I love it. And I just realized that the chair you sit on is literally transparent.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's like glass, like it's see-through.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So yeah, you can feel when someone's not transparent.
Yeah, but your normal average person will not do anything about it, because they're not transparent either. So they're just happy that everybody else is not transparent. So, like we said, their ego is validated to stay behind whatever their mask at the moment is.
So then what happens then when, like, invalidated egos interact with each other with their obstructions? Like, what is that? Is that like playing games?
I don't know. That's the world that we live in.
Yeah.
That's really.
Well, I think it's interesting then how we're all forced to wear masks. Like, just I know you said that it's not like what I mean, but I think as like a outwardly expression.
Yes, that of course is true. And also what we said that, the energy of the age of Aquarius that bears like so much magic
Mm-hmm.
is not used in that way, cannot be used in that way because of all of the obstructions. The only thing that we are left with is the energy of the age of Aquarius of purification, of the purge. Like we have to first clean all these impurities
Yeah,
before we can access that.
absolutely. And one of these, impurities that we have to clean is the streams of consciousness and the streams of information. And I just wrote an article about, the mainstream media breakdowns. It was like really amazing, like how these streams of defilement really is just like filling us with all kinds of obstructions, making us less and less transparent.
That's right. Well, all I have to say is get ready to be deplatformed again. 'Cause I don't know you guys if you know that, but Arik has been censored really, really badly already. So, but hey, that's part of still staying transparent because
Interesting.
because you're not altering your story so that you
I can get likes or offers or collaborations or anything.
No, you don't.
Mm-mm.
Because you are here to bring the message of the stars and to just clearly say what that message is. And if somebody interprets it as being against the whatever popular narrative, and you have to be censored for that and shut up, then then I have to really say that's sad.
Wow.
But it's better to stay authentic and transparent for yourself than to sell out.
Even if
Every time we become less transparent, we're selling out a part of ourselves.
So even as a collective, as we are becoming more and more censored.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's not even true because let's face it, we've been censored since at least the 70s or the 80s. I mean, really, seriously, it's just it's just coming to light now.
All I know is, you guys, if you have listened to our Ageless talks for a while, then you know that my grandpa was in Dachau concentration camp.
Since the 30s even, yeah.
And that was, last century. And that was censorship there too, because, he didn't do what the Ministry of Propaganda told him to do. And a neighbor, said, oh, look, this guy, he's not doing it. And he ended up in Dachau. So, no, there was censorship always. It's part of the human condition. And it's just another quality of the age of Aquarius. Or not another quality, but it's another facet of it, what I call, the purge, like the cleansing that is coming to light. Like this is what Aquarius is doing.
Yeah. But I understand that now very clearly is that, I really had no idea when I first asked you, but how censorship is really obstructing transparency.
Yes.
Because who decides what's censored? And it's really about censoring our consciousness, censoring our ability to be intuitive, censoring our ability to stand up against the mainstream and say, hey, you know what, this person, there's evil in this person's eyes and I can feel it, But
it's very, very difficult because, like my favorite example for months now is like a person I know who supposedly always, felt very highly about me and, really enjoyed what I had to say and even had like a spiritual practice and stuff like that. However, got so pulled into the narrative of the mainstream obstruction that when I said, all life matters, which definitely, all life includes black life, doesn't it? That she accused me of being racist and said, I don't want to have anything to do with you ever again. And that's kind of really bad. I knew this person for I don't know how many years, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what happens then with consciousness. Like, we are programmed to act and react to things we hear over and over and over again.
Memes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the more something is repeated, the more true it becomes.
And that's
And
true.
we are like machines that are being programmed by repetition.
It's beautifully put.
And this is, for example, on the good side, if you do a spiritual practice or like, you know, you have, you do chants or you count malas or, you know, you keep like 100,000 prayers, you repeat the prayer 100,000 times. So this is how you program your subconscious mind so that eventually the message will bubble up and penetrate your consciousness. So now back to transparency. Like when you start doing that, like you count your malas, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, this is very transparent to your ego masks what's going on, mainly that you're being programmed in a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So this is transparent in the way like you cannot see it.
Peeling off the onion peels.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time, you know, it hits your conscious mind, meaning it becomes obvious, it's too late because then it's there with
The effect is already like
effect
you've
has
been
happened.
brainwashed in a good way.
Exactly, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, you know, sadly what happened to
Or like
this
reprogrammed.
friend of mine. She's been reprogrammed, and I'm feel very bad. I mean, especially she is a person who was totally against corporate America, has always been outspoken about big tech
lack of
and like
transparency, yeah.
all of the lack of. I mean, it's really just insane. And then because I use one word, not in the way the mainstream media programmed, like all life instead of black lives. You know, bam.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything's been erased.
Yeah, because it obviously triggered some kind of. It's like a sleeper cell.
Yeah,
like,
it's like a
making
kill
sleeper
switch.
like a
Yeah.
kill switch, like where then they get triggered, and
Yep.
oh my God, you know, like, you know, and God forbid I, you know, have my own intuition and like go down my own path because like, you know, I might be invalidated by my community and stuff, and
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's like not really
Sad.
seeing, you know, the violence behind a lot of these movements, and especially that one, you know, like never
Yeah.
mind that because it all gets censored.
Yes. And this is part of not being transparent.
Okay.
And I mean, there obviously is good reason for that because, you know, we cannot expect somebody to stand up and say, yeah, you know, I show you how racist you really are by
Right.
us helping you, like making it possible for you to rant about Black lives and never knowing that this is really racist because, I mean, if everybody's equal, you know, why do I have to say that?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, you know, you are being called racist because, you know, you called the Spanish flu. Remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, this is ridiculous,
That's the way
guys.
I
you
learned
know?
it, and
Be careful. Next time you want to have Chinese food, you're going to be called racist.
you have to call it by the dish.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like,
well, like in China, they don't call it Chinese food. You have to call it by the dish. It means you have to
Yes.
learn the language, or you have to translate it into English, and
yes.
you know.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you hold someone accountable for that, then chances are you have some kind of projection problems going on.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know,
these are
and
your
you're not
own
and you're not
obstructions.
transparent.
Exactly.
Because I mean, also I've seen that the other way around, where it works the other way, like where you've had students who don't believe what you say until they hear it in the mainstream media.
Yes.
Because like, you know, even what you're saying now, it won't penetrate the obstructions of a mind that isn't transparent because it keeps them safe. that's, you know, where they've been. You know, they have whole communities based off of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's being reinforced and reprogrammed by the mainstream media all the time. For some people, it's their bread and butter. It's where they get their validation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people need that, especially now as they're becoming more and more isolated from, you know, what's going on.
Yeah.
But, you know, where it's like they won't believe or find what you say relevant until it's in the mainstream media or
Yes.
some kind of authority is.
Yeah.
And I think that's sad, but I think that's also then the solution.
Yeah.
You know, to becoming more transparent. Like to really just say, no, like I do take this risk to, like, where this mind is not for sale.
Oh, I love that. Oh my god, do we still own that?
Yeah, we do.
Oh my god, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forgot all about it. This
We
mind
had
is
the
not
foresight,
for
you know,
sale.
years ago
Yeah.
to get that, and we still have it.
Uh-huh.
And I've been thinking about it
Oh,
now
we
more
should
and more
do
because
something with it.
it's really like, wow. I mean, we now see what the world is like now that, you know, much chaos in the world. Like, to become just more transparent, like, or how would you suggest that we can become more transparent?
I sound like a boring broken record, but it's really the same, ever and ever and ever. We have to start to become more honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we start to become honest with ourselves and then take responsibility for what we're really feeling and mostly what our motivation truly is, you know, then we will become more transparent automatically.
That sounds like a can of worms.
Yep.
To become honest with what our true motivation is.
Yes. That's a huge can of worms.
That sounds like part 2 of Ageless.
Okay.
Because that's like really intense.
Yeah,
Like
it
to
is.
really become honest with our motivation, because I can already see that if we are becoming honest with our motivations, then A, we will manifest, you know, with a clear channel,
Yes.
without obstruction, and B, probably live radically different lives than the ones that most of us are living.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, and then and on the upside, there's really only upside to it.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
I mean, there is really it sounds challenging and it sounds horrifying because most people are just so deadly afraid of change.
mm-hmm.
You know, and they just want to have the status quo no matter what. I mean, you know, I'm walking the dog and I'm talking to people, and there are still people out there who actually think that this whole COVID thing will go away and that life will go back to normal. Or what they think normal, you know, like how it was before.
Right. Like
And
as if the quote unquote powers that to be would relinquish the control that they have spent a year building up.
And that's the problem, because here we go back to authority, where those people, at least that I'm talking with, they would not believe that this is all measure of control that's working against them. Of course, they see it's measures of control, but they think it's for their own good. It's for their best. And this is why, because the authority says it, and this is why having such an impact, because they are not honest about their motivation and about themselves, and they are not authentic with themselves, and so their power is being given away to the authorities. And that doesn't mean, you know, like I'm not a rebel or something. Of course I go out there and I wear my masks and, you know, I observe the curfew and I do all these things, and thankfully we're living in an area where, you know, we have barely any occurrences, so, you know, we can drive about and it's not that big of a deal. However, if I would live in an environment where I can only go 15 kilometers radius, I would observe that too.
Right.
Because nothing is being gained by like complaining, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree.
And it's like everybody has to start
make the
within
best of it.
themselves. Exactly.
Yeah, because we had a chance to kind of shift it at the beginning,
Yes.
but now it looks like that, and we have to work with what is.
Yeah, and I mean, and there was another constellation in the stars that was later in the year that, you were writing about, where
Mm-hmm.
we had another opportunity to make a
Mm-hmm.
difference, but, we didn't.
Yeah, so it looks like that now, and the shift is occurring. Like the shift that I've been talking about
Yeah.
as well. So that's something also that we have to keep in mind. But
Mhm.
generally speaking, I think this is really good, a good move to make, to just become honest about your motivations, and to
Yes.
use this fluid state that the world is in to make a change.
Yes.
And to not be afraid of it, because change has already happened.
Yes.
So it's like, okay, if you're not happy in your relationship, if you're not happy with your job, if you're not happy, with whatever your situation is, now is the time to really be honest about it, and
Yes.
to make a change, because otherwise it's gonna perpetuate that rendering of reality, and it's gonna compound and just become more dense.
Well, and if I look at the board of the cosmic pixels, then there is the tower, like Aries,
Mars?
Mars,
Mm-hmm.
Aries, like all of that is just before Aquarius,
Nice.
and so that means like if I'm not purifying voluntarily or making the changes voluntarily, then Mars will make them for me. And incidentally, like in that constellation, this is also depicting Uranus. And didn't you say that there was a Mars-Uranus?
I just wanted to get your opinion on the Mars-Uranus conjunction that we're going to be having this week.
Well, here you
I
have
feel like
it.
a reporter.
Yeah. Well,
Hi, Aurelia. What do you have to say about the Mars-Uranus conjunction in Taurus?
oh, Lordy.
Huh?
Like, I think I mentioned that almost a year ago, where I said it can become very unpleasant.
Yeah.
Because this is
It
what
is
I was
scary.
going to say right now, that if we are not changing voluntarily, and we haven't, so far we haven't, then the change will be forced upon us. Now, with Mars and Uranus, like, you really do not know where it goes. It could be war. This is a lot of war energy with Mars and Uranus, who is the terrorist, and it's like, it's really not a lot of fun. And then
Mars is the warrior in Taurus.
Yeah. And here we have Taurus, which is, amongst other things, the media, but it also, like, the biggest earth sign. So it could also be earthquakes, and it could be, like,
Fighting over territory.
Exactly. It could be
religion.
Yes.
Beliefs.
Yes. It's like, none of it is actually really, really pleasant.
No.
The only way we could still make a difference with that is to remember what I have said now. That, well, let's purify and be honest voluntarily. Just
Be
say
transparent.
yes. Just make the statement. Just decree to yourself, I will change. I will change voluntarily. I will become authentic. I will stand up for what I believe. I will use all my Pluto power that is somewhere in my chart to really be the detective and see what are my true motivations. I'm going to do all these things, decree that, and then if many people are doing that,
It's going to shift consciousness.
Yes, it will.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's beautiful. It's probably one of the most important things. Thank you so much.
Well,
I totally agree. And, then once you start making those changes, you'll know exactly what to do next. Like,
100%.
whether it means reaching out, getting help with these changes, and, just really committing to it and not changing once you've decided to change.
Yeah, because then you use that Taurus energy as guidance.
Stabilize it. Yeah.
Then it shows you exactly, like, the bull, like one step after the other, and making that impact, and going and not going left or right, but being just really trucking it again, right?
Nice, beautiful. And once again, we come full circle. And so, this has been Arik.
And Aurelia.
And you've just listened to an episode of
Ageless.
We wish you guys all the best, and please subscribe anywhere podcasts are heard. Until next time, bye.